When Steve Kim here. So excited. Steve Kim Show episode number 113. The much anticipated August stats are in, and as usual, I got your numbers and your stats as they pertain to the detached and townhome markets for Toronto and certain pockets of the GTA. So let's get right into the numbers. So in Toronto, that average detached property back in July 2020 was trading around $1.54 million. Fast forward into August 2020, that average detached property in Toronto is now trading about $1.51 million, so a slight decrease. Well, in Richmond Hill, what happened? Back in July 2020, that average detached property was trading about $1.53 million. Fast forward into August, we see the number climb to $1.56 million for that average detached property. Well, in Markham, what happened? The average detached property was trading around $1.41 million, and then in August, we see a similar pattern like we did in Richmond Hill, and that the prices went up to about $1.47 million for that average detached property in Markham. Well, in Vaughan, what did we see? In Vaughan, we saw a small increase. We went from $1.38 million in July, and then into August, we see it creep up just a little bit to about $1.39 million. Now, months of inventory. This is really important. This is all checks and balances, supply versus demand. And I've said this countless times before that a balanced market is usually around 5 months of inventory, right? And what does months of inventory really mean? What it means is when I share with you that months of inventory, let's say, is at 4.7 months. What it means is it's going to take about 4.7 months, or it'll take 4.7 months to completely sell out all of the current housing stock. A balanced market, again, is around 5 months of inventory. And when I share with you numbers, obviously less than 5, we start to get into a seller's market. Closer down the line that we get to 1 and sub 1, we are definitely an extreme seller's market. Anything around 5 and over, we start getting into a buyer's market. So months of inventory for the detached segment in Toronto and the GTA back in July, that average detached property for Toronto was around 1.4 months of inventory. Fast forward into August, not much of a difference, not much of a change at all. We stayed at around 1.5 months of inventory. So if you've been looking for a detached property in the 416, you've probably entered that very elusive multiple offer situation because we just don't have enough supply to meet the demand. Well, in Richmond Hill, what happened? We went from 3.2 months of inventory in July to 3.3 months of inventory. So still very much a seller's market in certain pockets of Richmond Hill, but there are also areas of Richmond Hill where we are seeing a much more balanced situation in months of inventory. In Markham, we went from 1.8 months of inventory, not much of a change in August, to 1.8 months of inventory. So Markham, when we see that, we know that it is a seller's market for major areas in Markham, in most areas and pockets of Markham. In Vaughan, what happened? We went from 1.8 months of inventory into July up to 2.2 months of inventory into August. So that's going to be a really interesting trend to pay attention to in Vaughan, and that we've now broken the 2 months of inventory. Let's see what happens into September and October as the weather starts to cool down. Now, a lot of people are saying, Steve, what do you think is going to happen to inventory levels as we move into the fall? Well, let's be honest. That really hot spring market was obviously cooled down because of COVID. Now, the summer has been very hot with regards to a lot of buyers actively looking, but we just are not meeting the demand. So in terms of what do I think is going to happen, I think we're going to continue on this road for a little bit longer, and that we're not going to see as much inventory come to market, but we are still going to see a large number of buyers still stay in the market as they bid on homes. And unfortunately, most of the times, with so many offers being placed, the chance is, I'm going to say, not even slim, but it's going to be a much more of a challenge to get that house that you desire under lock and key. So months of inventory, I think, is going to continue to stay pretty low as we don't see as many sellers wanting to put their homes on the market, and yet buyer demand is still very strong. Now, the townhome markets. That average townhome property in Toronto back in July 2020 was trading about $1.08 million. Fast forward to August, we see it creep up a little bit to just over $1.1 million. In Richmond Hill, that average townhouse in July was trading just over $925,000. Into August, we see it shoot up to just over $935,000. In Markham, what happened? A similar suit in that we see an upward trend in price. July, we went from just over $921,000 to just over $936,000 in August. And then in Vaughan as well, stayed pretty much stable in that the average townhome in July 2020 was trading around $927,000, and then fast forward to August is now trading just over $926,000. Now, months of inventory in Toronto for townhomes, we went from sub 0.9 months of inventory for a townhome property in July to now 1.5 months of inventory into August. So still very much a seller's market. Richmond Hill, similar pattern. We went from 1.3 1.5 to 1.3 in August. In Markham, we went from 1.1 to 1.2 in August. And then in Vaughan, we went from 1.5 in July to 1.8 months of inventory in August. So right across the board, townhome months of inventory in these communities, all sub to very much a seller's market. So if you're in the market for a townhome, get ready to be entered into the multiple offer situation. Now, year over year, this is a really interesting statistic to pay attention to. That average detached property of August 2019 in Toronto was trading around $1.24 million. Fast forward in August 2020, like I just shared with you, it's now trading just over $1.51 million. That's a 21.8% increase year over year of an average detached property in the 416. Let that sit with you. Well, in York Region, what happened? That average detached property in August 2019 was trading around $1.14 million, and like I just shared with you, is now trading just over $1.31 million. That's an average increase of about 14.9% year over year. Let that sink in with you. I hope you found these numbers and these stats useful. If you have any questions whatsoever, please feel free to give me a call, send me a text, shoot me a DM, or an email. As always, be kind, everyone. Take care.